all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Hello, everybody. Jim here. And after some of the recent news that has rocked the comic book world the past couple weeks, I was kind of sitting around. Actually, I was mowing my lawn, and I was just kind of thinking about what I love and hate about comic books nowadays. So I got done mowing the lawn. I thought, well, how about make a video on one of the things that has been bugging me, and that is the lack of character development. I think it's one of the biggest problems, especially at the big two. And I'm going to focus on new characters here. Maybe doing another video on the lack of development and progression of established characters later. But this is more about new characters, and this isn't a thesis-level discussion. I'm just going to talk off the top of my head. We'll just discuss this. So obviously, some people will have differing opinions or have expanded ideas of what I'm talking about. I'd love to hear those in the comments below. But obviously, introducing new characters isn't a new thing. It's also kind of a hard thing in comics, but how it's being done now feels drastically different than how it was done back in the day a bit. Instead of gradually introducing a character, it feels like they're just shot out of a cannon at readers. And when something's shot out of a cannon at you, you may be different than me, but I duck for cover. I end up getting a bit defensive right away if something feels like it's shot out of a cannon at me. And that's kind of how these new characters end up showing up. There's really no subtlety to it at all. And we're not dummies. We know what's going on here, but how many books have you read in the past couple of years where characters just sit around and fanboy and fangirl over a new character? How many times are the big two going to try to replace a loved and established character with one that just showed up a month before? And it doesn't work. One of the more recent examples is Naomi, the Brian Michael Bendis character. She showed up and a lot of people were excited about her. Oh my God, a lot of people were saying this could be the next Miles Morales. This is going to be awesome. This is great. But when she ends up going there, Bendis just shoves her on the Justice League. And to make it, in his mind, make sense, Batman and Superman just tells everyone, including the reader, that Naomi's the greatest thing ever and that she's even better than them. And at the time, my big joke was that every time Naomi showed up, she yelled, "I just got my powers yesterday." Yet she was a member of the Justice League and front and center on every Justice League cover. That didn't make people love the character. It made her a joke. Naomi never really got any true development, but yet she got a TV show. And we know how that went. And the funny thing is with all of this, Dan DiDio, people love or hate him, but I always think back to one of his mantras. He always said that comic book characters need tragic origins. While I don't think that is always the case, I do think that characters need to struggle a bit. They need setbacks. It doesn't matter if Captain America and Spider-Man keep telling everyone a character's greatest thing since sliced bread. A huge part of being a hero is facing the impossible and how you deal with hardship. Seeing that not only makes readers accept the character, but that's what makes us fall in love with a character. And without that, you're just setting up that character to fail. And that's the problem. Nowadays, a lot of these writers, they end up not wanting to show that the character struggles. They think that showing the character never struggling makes them better, but it doesn't. It ends up where, how are you going to relate to a character that doesn't have any setbacks? I think I could be a hero if everybody thinks I'm the greatest thing and nothing wrong ever happens to me. I'd look like I'm the greatest thing ever. But that's the problem. A lot of times somebody in that position, the minute something goes wrong, you see their true colors, and not only are they not a hero, they're just assholes. And that's what you need to be able to see. You need to see how they react. And I think that the idea of big difference between a hero and a villain is how they react to those hardships and struggles. And without seeing that, you just don't have any connection. You have no connection to these characters. So why does this keep happening? I think a lot of writers are trying for the immediate hit. They want that TV or movie deal. And somewhere in the back of their mind, they think, well, It's all the hype of the character. It's going to be the character design. That's what happened with Yara Flor, one of the other newer characters. It was all about the character design, but they never really developed the character, never established her as being that much different, even though the setup for her should have been so easy to do that. But in the end, you realize, well, the writing failed Yara and all of us, and then the character just kind of fades away. But I think that it's all about that hype. It's about that initial, boom, wow, bam deal. Oh, my God, I'll get a TV and a movie deal with this character, but I'll wait till later to develop it. And if it doesn't work, and they blame everything but their own failure and the idea that they didn't really show us why we should love the character. They just wanted to force it in and try to make us like that. And I think that's part of it. That, hey, I want to get this deal, TV or movie. But I think it goes beyond that. I think that DC and Marvel, this is not going to shock anybody, but I really don't think they have any respect for their fans and readers. And they've decided that all of us, we can't pay attention long enough to allow a character to develop over time. Also, we may just stop reading comics. But the only reason that we can't pay attention or that we leave is because of the crap that they're putting out. If you have a good character and develop it over time, you're going to have a lot of people fall in love with that character and then accept that character, with whatever ends up happening. But I think that DC and Marvel just think that people cannot pay attention long enough to a character. And so they end up trying to shove it at us right away. And I think there are some bigwigs sitting there and think that the kids nowadays, even though not a ton of kids are reading comics, but maybe they think that's the way to get them in. The kids nowadays, they can't pay attention. Throw this out. He's there smoking a cigar in a board meeting, yelling about kids and their devices and their ADHD, and they can't pay. You got to throw it at them. They don't know what they want. We have to tell them this. Yet a lot of those kids are buying manga, which really values character development and progression over everything else. The DC and Marvel especially has to learn their lesson that they have to respect the reader. They have to get the idea that the reader might be a little smarter than they want to admit, and they will clap back at something that is forced at them. Nobody likes to be told what to like. It's just not how it works. We want to decide on our own, and the only way we're going to decide is if you actually give us full-out, fleshed-out characters, not just one-dimensional wham-bam in-your-face deal. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So hopefully they will end up, doing it a little different. Maybe I don't think it's going to change, though. And this goes on. I may even have to do another video because a lot of times these new characters get that other caveat that they are going to replace some established characters. And then you really have to you really have to do character work to make people want to love a character. You don't just have lip service telling them that they better like a character. And so there you go. There's a little bit. It's quick enough. I thought that I might end up rambling along too much because really, if DC and Marvel think that people can't pay attention, I can't. So they're right for me. But I think that all of us in general, we kind of want these characters developed and see them go through the struggles over time so that we can then say, oh my God, that character is so good. I love that character. I hope that character ends up getting bigger and better. And that's what you end up having happen. But that's that. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Like I said, I had a bunch of things I was talking about of what I love and hate. And I'm not just going to sit on the things, hey, this is what I hate. I might have a couple videos of what I really do love and maybe try to inspire some people who might be really down, because right now I see a lot of people in need of that therapy. I think they're in need of somebody to kind of, take them by the hand and say, listen, not everything's horrible. What looks like it's bad, but really, maybe there's hope. Maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We'll have to see. All of this can change all the time and whatnot, but I still love comics. I still want to love every comic that I read. It just doesn't work out that way. But again, let me know what you all think in the comments below, and I will talk to you all later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.